Happy Life, chapter 134. This is a short one, and it says, repeat an error-filled lesson gladly. The learning process employs various techniques to impart knowledge. Trial and error is the most common one. The same is true for moral lessons. If corrected by repeating the experience, today's error becomes a lesson that will endure forever. Very short, very powerful, very important. Why? Because a lot of times, part of the suffering that we experience on our day-to-day is because we wish for ourselves a life free of errors. We want to be perfect because we associate this perfection with acceptance, with love. The more perfect we are, the more accepted we will be, the more included we will be. A lot of times that comes out as pride, and that creates a lot of problems and a lot of suffering that is unnecessary suffering, right? So first thing is to work on acceptance that we are humans. It's meant to be this way. God created us to build ourselves throughout time, through the process of trial and error. That's the way God wanted it to be. So to not accept that, to swim against this flow, is to set ourselves to a tremendous amount of suffering. So that's the first step. Now, the second step is to understand that trial and error is part of the learning process. That's how we learn, especially in this level of awareness that we find ourselves in this world of trial and expiations. With our level of awareness is still developing. This is the divine process that will entail learning. We try, we make mistakes, we repeat, we try differently, we learn from our mistakes, we take a step forward. This is the same thing for our moral lessons, right? So we try something, sometimes with the best intents, we look at the outcome, it's not the best one, we need to try something differently. So she's going to end by saying, if corrected by repeating the experience, today's error becomes a lesson that will endure forever. Now, how many times can we make the same error? There's no answer for that. I wish we would learn all that we have to learn in one error. But that's not usually the case, especially with things or patterns that we have repeated throughout many incarnations. So one of the greatest source of suffering as well is that people a lot of times are unrealistic with the pace of their own evolution. They wish to evolve faster than is actually possible because the patterns of imbalance are well ingrained in their psychology. Also, the wounds sometimes are way too deep to be healed just by cognitive processes, just by learning the theory, just by wishing to change. It is necessary, and that parallel to this process, there is some inner healing. There is a rewiring of the whole mind for a different pattern, for a different paradigm. This takes place. So sometimes when we want to change, we will make many errors. We will repeat sometimes the same errors, and we will be under the impression that we are not evolving, but we are. And I tell this to people all the time. Although you may feel you're not moving forward, you are building an inner momentum that will eventually be strong enough to give you the strength, the courage to perform the most important miracle of your life, which is the miracle of inner transformation. The most important ingredient for this process is called discipline, and even more than discipline, perseverance. You can't give up. You just need to keep going, to keep trying. No matter how many times you err, each error can become a valuable lesson that will lead to your transformation and a happier life.